hear that? That's not just a Toyota truck. That's the sound of no crowds, no alerts, no distractions, and no telling what you'll find next. You know, like a detour. So why would you ever take a tour when you could take a detour? Toyota trucks.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or mental health advice. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast and are not intended to malign any religion, group, club, organization, business, individual, anyone, or anything.
I'm Sarah Edmondson.
And I'm Anthony Nippy Ames, and this is A Little Bit Culty.
We woke up from a cult, and that journey was captured in The Vow on HBO and in my memoir, Scarred.
Now, in this podcast, we break down the shame and secrets that make these experiences so destructive with honest conversations on how seemingly benign groups can cross into the cultiverse and how to spot and recover from trouble if it happens to you.
Each week, we bring in experts, survivors, and whistleblowers to explore red flags, resilience, and even share a few laughs, because sometimes you gotta laugh.
Subscribe to our Patreon for early and ad-free listening, some live Q&A, and exclusive content at patreon.com/alittlebitculty.
Welcome to Season 8 of A Little Bit Culty.
Welcome back to A Little Bit Culty, everyone.
Today's guest is Andrew-Ryan Profaci, a cult and cancer survivor, author, and speaker whose memoir, The War on Love, pulls back the curtain on the infamous Love Has Won group and on his surreal role as Father God, alongside its leader, Amy Carlson, a.k.a. Mother God.
This is actually the first survivor from the group that we've spoken to. We covered this group with Leah Sotilli about a year ago, I believe, when the HBO doc came out. Check that episode if you want more of a deep dive about how love is won.
So before he ever stepped into that world, Andrew survived a devastating car wreck at 18 and a painkiller addiction. In his book, he traces how that early trauma and his desperate search for purpose made him somewhat vulnerable to mystical signs and synchronicities that felt like proof of a higher power that was guiding him straight into the arms of the group.
Front load your trauma, right?
Exactly.
Good God. With us, he walks us through those first impressions, how spiritual longing slowly slid into gaslighting and manipulation. Been there before. And the moments when playing Father God stopped feeling divine and started tearing apart his sense of self.
We'll also dig into the wild and deeply disturbing entire story of Love Has Won itself, a movement led by Amy Carlson, who claimed to be the reincarnation of everyone from Joan of Arc and Marilyn Monroe to Jesus Christ, guided by the spirit of Robin Williams.
Love Has Won blended QAnon-style conspiracies, New Age mysticism, authoritarian religion, wellness quackery, and conspiracy like Sandy Hook being a hoax and drinking colloidal silver as a cure-all, until Amy's mysterious death in 2021, when followers drove her mummified body from Oregon to Colorado while they waited for her, air quotes, return.
Spoiler alert, that never happened. The day is young. Who knows? Maybe we will see Amy Carlson again. But in this conversation,
Andrew shares the bizarre and traumatic turning points inside that world and offers hard-won insights for anyone struggling to protect loved ones or themselves from financial, emotional, and spiritual exploitation and high-control movements today.
Thank you for giving us your insider scoop, Ryan. Everybody, buckle up. Here is part 1 with Andrew-Ryan Profaci. We're so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Can't wait to jump in. Hopefully give your viewers an awesome show.
People have been asking for us to cover this. We did cover it with a journalist, but we've never spoken to somebody who was actually there. You've got an inside scoop that I'm sure everybody wants.
I've got an inside scoop.
Just so you know, like, obviously we cover multiple stories, similar ins and outs, similar kinds of abuse, and you have to process them during the week, and then they're kind of, for lack of a better word, you have to get them out of your mind, go on to the next one. This is one story that after I saw it and actually saw the Dr. Phil, saw the documentary, saw it was with me for, what'd you say? It's like 2 weeks.
You're
I was
still talking. Well, we're still talking about it.
We did it, like 6 months ago? And it was still one that just, I was thinking about it. I was trying to figure out what was it about this that was so kind of like, why did this one sit with me so differently than some of the others? And I think for me, it just seemed kind of like, seemed like a normal girl, like on a normal trajectory. And it went
haywire. The saddest part about it is, there was Amy and then there was Mother God. And, if you read the book, I make a distinction between the two people. And for me, that was really important. And it's a shame because Amy had all the potential in the world. And at the end of the day, this really is like a sad story underneath it all, despite the wild craziness. And I know you guys have covered a lot. I want to say congratulations. I saw 250 plus shows now.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Yeah. We've detected a few patterns along the way.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
We see the template. We feel it. We get it. The cultiverse never stops. There's more and more cults every day.
No doubt.
And I think your perspective is really unique because you, like so many of our guests, just, was a normal person who stumbled upon this group and looking for very normal things. But what's different is that you got out and tried to stop it. And we're going to cover all of that.
I guess to reiterate, I can remember the documentary. I'm reluctant to use the term normal person. Do you know what I mean? But
we're all normal.
Right. But she seemed like to be pretty talented. Like I remember seeing her sing. I remember seeing her do she worked hard at McDonald's at the restaurant. Like there were some real strong characteristics to her. And to see it go that way to me was like, wow, what the hell?
She had a lot of natural qualities that made her, one, a great leader, which, played a role into how all of this came about anyway. But yeah, she had a lot of, great characteristics and things about her. She was raised by a great family. She was raised well, and she was a special kind of person. And, unfortunately, she just, took a bite of a poison apple and never spit it out.
Well put. Yeah.
That's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your trajectory. Who were you? What was going on in your life? And sort of give us the cliff notes of what we now call in our podcast, the situational vulnerabilities. How did the stars align to make you more susceptible to what Love as One was offering?
Yeah, so great question. And I had a lot of the things that you would see with a lot of people who fall into these groups going on. I had a lot of them. And then I also had a few really inexplicable experiences.
The world is full of tours. But you don't choose a Toyota truck to follow the beaten path. You choose it to find the places in between. The detours, where each adventure pulls you toward the next. And wrong turns turn out right. So why would you ever take a tour when you could take a detour? Toyota Trucks.
People, we are so excited about our newest sponsor, Drip Drop. I love electrolytes, and when I'm hydrated, I feel so much better. I notice my mood and focus shift instantly when I'm hydrated. Drip Drop is doctor-developed, science-backed, and uses a precise electrolyte-glucose ratio for proven fast hydration that helps your body absorb water fast. We're talking 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading sports drinks. So you actually feel the difference. Better focus, more energy, even that sneaky, why does my skin look so good today glow. And this stuff is trusted by so many people, firefighters, medical pros, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. Our family loves the zero sugar line. I am obsessed with the peach. Ace likes the strawberry lemonade, Nippy likes the cherry limeade, and Troy is obsessed with the orange. Plus, with Drip Drop's flexible subscriptions, I am never stuck without it. Whenever I'm working out, running around with the kids, parenting through a heat wave like we did last summer, I always have Drip on hand. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code CULTY. That's dripdrop.com, promo code CULTY for 20% off. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code CULTY. Enjoy! We've been shopping at Whole Foods since way before we moved to Atlanta, probably over 2 decades actually. And now we've officially decided that it's our holiday headquarters this year. Whether we're hosting the big dinner or just showing up trying to look like we have our lives together, they've got literally everything we need. If we're hosting, we grab their heat and eat sides from prepared foods, zero stress, maximum delicious, and stock our pantry with their budget-friendly 365 staples, cream of mushroom soup, stuffing mix, French-style green beans, basically all the holiday essentials without the holiday panic. Yes, please. Plus, we're treating the family to some limited edition desserts, holiday rum cake, obviously. If I'm a guest, I will never show up empty-handed. Thanks, Mom, for teaching me that life lesson. So I snag one of Whole Foods' expertly curated cheeses and some maybe gluten-free crackers, some gorgeous flower arrangement, instant hero status. Oh, I just threw this together, no big deal. And for the main event, they've got their showstoppers, bone-in spiral ham, rib roasts, and even some amazing seafood like king crab. Lots of sales happening all month, and everything meets their strict ingredient standards. No antibiotics ever on any of those proteins. Gift giving? Done. Seasonal candles, clean body care sets, cookie gift boxes. I can literally check everyone off my list in one trip. And if I'm in a hurry, which to be honest, I usually am, I just order online for pickup or deliver in selected zip codes. Boom. No crowds, no chaos, just holiday magic. Shop for everything you need at Whole Foods Market, your holiday headquarters.
That are in the book that you probably read that kind of like threw fuel on the fire. If it wasn't, a guarantee I was going to join the group, the cult, once they happened, it was, it felt like destiny almost in a way. But, I was in a place where I was dealing with addiction. I had actually just beat it in the week or two before I joined the group. It was actually, connecting with them through their chat room that had given me the strength to overcome. I felt this sense of strength and community, and I felt like purpose building up, welling up inside of me. So that gave me the strength to overcome my addiction. I was working a corporate job that I had actually just been let go of. I was deep into conspiracy theories, which I think is a hook for a lot of people, especially in this particular cult, but for a lot of them. Asking a lot of big existential questions about the nature of life, about the reality, the truth that we're told is reality, what we're told on the news, do these healthcare companies really want us healthy? Do, the food companies really care that, the food is healthy or not? Nobody else was asking these questions except these people in this group where this girl called herself Mother God. And I just, I didn't know where else to go. And then all of a sudden I find myself with it, I feel like I belong. I feel like I've found my tribe. I feel like I found people who understand me. And, all of these feelings start to, manifest themselves in this desire to belong, which is, was the beginning of my prison to begin with. That desire to belong, forsake your own authenticity, your own identity, to join a group, to fit the box, fit the mold. That's where I started, building my own prison, so to speak. These things all led me closer and closer to the group. And then I had these inexplicable experiences within the course of a week that made me question the reality of life. If I hadn't already, they completely crashed my worldview. And now I needed to replace it with something. And Amy was willing and ready to replace it with her belief system. And I just lapped it up. She made it make sense. And I didn't really ask questions at first. That was one of my first mistakes.
Tell us about the invitation to come join them in Colorado.
Yeah, so I wanted to go. And at first I had asked another member of the team if he thought it would be okay if I came and joined. And he told me no. I thought, well, that kind of stinks. And then all of a sudden, after I have these like weird experiences in meditation where I'm seeing images, and I heard voices, and one of them, I've never had that happen before. All of a sudden I started having dreams of Amy 2-3 nights in a row. And I thought about asking her about it, but I didn't want to come off like this fanboy either. So I didn't say anything. And then after a couple more nights of having this same dream, I don't remember the dream. All I remember is seeing her face. It was like 5 nights in a row. And I said to myself, you know what? I've got to just tell her, see what she says. And as soon as I told her I was having these dreams about, her response was, oh yeah, I've been having dreams about you too. And I said, are you serious? She says, yeah. What does that mean? She goes, oh, it means you're supposed to drop everything, join us. You have a huge role to play. You need to join the team. There is an awakening happening on a global scale, and you have an incredible part to play. You're really special, really important, totally feeding my ego, hitting all of those checkpoints and checking all of those boxes of all the things I wanted to hear to feel good about myself. And within 24 to 48 hours, I was, 1,500 miles away, walking through the front door of the group's home at 5:30 in the morning, took 2 steps in and thought to myself, oh, I made a huge mistake.
The description of the home that you described, I'm just such a neat freak and I don't like smoke. So I'm pretty sure that I would have been like out of there in a second.
Can I ask, start to finish of finding out Mother God to walking in the front door, what was the time frame?
10 days to 2 weeks tops.
So very fast.
So no internet, no Mother God. No, this doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And I had those, inexplicable spiritual experiences. And then all of a sudden it felt like I was on a slide. It was taking me right through the front door, and I had started having dreams about her. And then it's like, well, what else? I'm already feeling pulled in that direction. That was like the last, hitch in my giddy up. And it was like, okay, yep, I'm going.
It's pretty powerful that I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people join, just having these feelings of like, oh, community, belonging, purpose. This is where I'm supposed to be. But then I had like this other layer that I couldn't explain of these experiences happening to me that made me feel like I was supposed to be there. And I would have run out the front door the second I got there, and I would have grabbed that cab and told him, wait, take me back to the airport. I'll give you another $500. I don't care. Let's go. Except those experiences that I couldn't explain that made me feel that I was supposed to be there. And I was like, that's why I bucked up. And I was like, all right, this is not going to be easy, but I came here, for something important.
Yeah. One of the things I really loved about your book is how you laid out the internal thought process because it's not like, oh, this is a mess, but I'm here to serve and I'm going to go for it anyway. You're like, no, you're having the thoughts like, oh shit, I made a huge mistake. And
I've invested a lot.
I've invested a lot. And I'm also like, you've committed to the growth path. So much of your sort of rationalizations were, well, this could be a test. This could be a test and you could grow, which I think is sort of spiritual bypassing, sketchy side of spirituality is that anything negative can be a test.
Yeah, you're 100% right there. It's a double-edged sword, right? It's about what experiences that you're willing to have. What extreme are you willing to go to? How fast and how hard do you want to learn your lessons? And, if you go back, even when I was a kid, I like my lessons hard and fast. And I've always been that way. I like the hard lessons, and I definitely signed up for a tough one here.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Now for something a little less culty, a quick sponsor message. Somehow, the holidays are already here, and I've learned the hard way that getting ready now makes all the difference later. Yes, if I can knock out some of the decorating, the guest prep, the gift shopping just a little bit early, I can actually get to enjoy the season. The cozy movie nights, the lights at the local botanical gardens, baking with the kids, all of it, instead of running around at the last minute like a chicken with her head cut off. Wayfair has been our secret weapon for just that. They have got everything: bedding, decor, lighting, gifts, and the shipping is so fast, which is so key this time of year. We just refreshed our guest room and added a few festive touches to the living room, and it all showed up in days. I've also ordered some garlands, some new stockings, some serving platters for hosting potlucks, and I picked these items quickly, looking at all the customer reviews. I love the quality, and I love how they all look in our home. It feels very festive and cozy in here. We even grabbed some extra storage bins for all the ornaments and kitchen essentials that somehow keep accumulating. Who doesn't need some storage bins? People. Log on to Wayfair. If you're still figuring out gifts, their guides make it easy to find something for everyone in the family. No endless scrolling required. Wayfair really is the one-stop shop for getting your home and holiday list ready so you can actually slow down and enjoy the holiday once it hits. Get last-minute hosting essentials, gifts for all your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. Ever heard of the 4 love languages? I think that I have all of them, I'm going to be honest, but I also really love gifts. I also love to give gifts. And when it comes to holiday gifting, I want to give things to people that they really love. Beautiful, timeless pieces that they'll wear for years. That's why most of the people in my life are going to be getting Quince this year. Everything is at a premium quality at a price that actually makes sense. When I say Quince has something for everyone, I'm not kidding. Just scroll through their website. You're going to find a gift for every single person on your list. You can even buy your Christmas tree on Quince. You can buy someone a brand new linen set for their bed, pillows, throw cushions, gloves, socks, jewelry, stocking stuffers. It's all at Quince this year. Check it out. And if you're going to dress up for the holidays, their silk tops and skirts are gorgeous. Everyday stuff? Oh yes, the denim chef's kiss. The real stars, though, Italian wool coats, beautifully tailored, super soft, and built to last season after season. Everything is made from premium materials and ethical, trusted factories, but priced way below what other luxury brands charge. You can see it in the details, the stitching, the fit, the drape. It's elevated, timeless, and you'll end up wearing it on repeat. This holiday, Quince has your non-apparel gifting covered too, from home to bath, kitchen, and travel essentials. Find gifts so good you'll want to keep them with Quince. Go to quince.com/culty for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINC.com/culty to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/culty. Happy shopping and happy holidays.
When it comes to holiday gifting, I'm done giving people stuff that ends up in the re-gift pile. I want to give things they actually love, like I'm wearing this for the next 10 years love. That's why I'm going with Quince. Quince is basically my secret source for luxury without the luxury markup. We're talking soft Mongolian cashmere sweaters for about $50. I have 2 of those that look and feel totally designer. Italian coats that are tailored, warm, and so beautifully made you'll swear they came from some fancy boutique. And everything else, silk tops, perfectly cut denim, and winter coats crafted for premium materials in ethical factories. The stitching, the fit, the drape, all looks elevated and timeless. So if you want to give a gift that people actually wear on repeat, Quince is the move. Sarah bought me some white tees, basic and perfect. Sarah bought herself an organic cotton fisherman crew sweater in rose pink that she looks dope in. We are going to be buying quite a few of our Christmas gifts from Quince. Cashmere socks in the stocking, anyone? Yes, please. Find gifts so good you'll want to keep them with Quince. Go to quince.com/culty for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/culty to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/culty.
Sponsor break's done. Back for more culty stories. And we do recommend the book to really get the details of your upbringing and your early car accident and your pelvis shattering and all those things that kind of set you up for what comes next. Okay, so you walk in, it's a shit show. Amy's falling down drunk and drooling.
I get out of the cab at 5:30 in the morning. The sun hasn't quite come up yet. I'm in the middle of nowhere, 5.5 hours south of Denver. And I walk in the front door. And the first thing I think, like I told you, is, oh my God, I made a huge mistake, because I take 2 steps in, I look to my left and the kitchen is there. The sink is overflowing with dishes to the point where they're on the counter. You could see the food chipping off of them. I mean, not like dishes from tonight. We're talking weeks. Like nobody has cleaned anything. Look like a bombing off in the house. I mean, clothes, towels strung about the living room. And, when you walk in, you can see the table, the big table they all work at, in a circle with their laptops set up around the outside of the table, wires everywhere, a layer of dust over the table, ashtrays with cigarettes overflowing, ashes on the table. I mean, the place was just an absolute mess. It was a wreck. And, the first thing I thought was, yep, this doesn't add up. And I was scared. I was really scared out of my mind. And here's Amy with her back turned towards me, and she's like drooped over in her chair. Michael's holding her shoulders. Archangel Michael is holding her shoulders, and he turns to me as I'm walking in. Most of the team members are sleeping. The other 4 or 5 guys that were there are sleeping. And Michael's holding her shoulders, and he says to me, yeah, the energies have been really tough on MG the last day and a half. Then I find out, they had been tripping on mushrooms for about 36 hours before I got there. She had made this huge deal that Andrew was coming. I didn't know it at the time, but I was supposed to become God like she was. She hadn't told me this yet, but the rest of the team knew. So they were partying because she told them, the new age was coming when Andrew gets here. So they partied like animals, and I didn't know she had an alcohol problem. Not only was she taking mushrooms, she was drinking not just beer, but hard liquor. I mean, strong liquor, 6, 7, 8 highball glasses. So she was incoherent, couldn't talk. I get around the corner to see her face, and there's a wet puddle on her jeans and drool coming down off her lip. She can't even hold her head up. She can't speak, totally incoherent. Michael says to her, MG, Andrew's here. And she couldn't even really crack a smile. She let out this muffled giggle that was like, oh my God, where am I right now? I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do? So I sit down in front of her, and she's just like drooling, doesn't even say anything to me. and just kind of giggles for a second. And then Michael just picks her up, almost falls over, takes her to her bedroom. She hits the bed and she just knocks out. 10 minutes later, she's snoring. And I'm sitting there by myself. Michael excused himself, went upstairs, went to sleep. And I'm sitting there all by myself alone in the living room, 5:45. The sun hasn't come up. You're like, this is the welcome I get. And Amy's snoring. I'm thinking, oh, well, she's definitely part human, even if she is God. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do now that I'm here and I've left everything behind. And try to come to terms with the fact that I made this decision to join these people. And this was not what I expected.
That wasn't a solid start on their part.
Yeah, no, definitely a false start there. Yeah, it was a rough one.
They didn't make it easy to join.
So what kept you? Was it because it was $500 to get back to the airport and that was all you had? Or was it like you wanted to give it a shot? Or like what was the hook from there?
It was because, again, those experiences I had that made me feel like I was led there. There was something I couldn't explain. There was a higher power that was involved. I really believe that to this day. I still do. Despite all, there was a reason I was there. And it was so hard to stay that I felt like that's exactly what I needed to do because I knew this road was going to be tough and I knew it was going to be challenging. And in that moment, sitting there by myself, watching the sunrise over the Rockies, I realized that all of the expectations I had for what this was going to look like needed to go out the window. And I just needed to battle to keep my presence and come out the other end intact, to trust myself, to find my way through. I resolved in that hour and a half to 2 hours that I sat there alone, I resolved to overcome it and not run away because of how hard it was. That was the main reason I was staying.
Wow.
Damn.
Well, she wasn't completely wrong that you were there for a reason, but we'll get to that in the end.
Well, that becomes
That's my spiritual side. Our atheist friends are going to be like,
well, it's an end justifies the means too. Like,
well, yeah, let's find out what you did with it all, and then we'll circle back to my spiritual analysis.
Sure.
About it. So, like, after you decide to stay, what's life like? And by the way, I kept wanting to know, whose home is this? How did they end up here? Who is paying the rent? Like, what's the logistics of this cabin?
Good question. It's a rented home in Crestone, Colorado. We saw the people who owned the place once, just this man and his wife. Didn't like Michael at all, I could tell. But yeah, we rented the home from them. Amy did spiritual healing sessions on a daily basis. And she didn't charge money, but she asked for donations. Some people would send care packages. Some people would give $5 donations. Some people would give $1,000 donations. And through these spiritual healing sessions that she had been doing, they came up with enough money to pay for the bills and to have food, but it was tight. It was really tight. And, Amy also was sinking her teeth into the bank accounts of everybody who joined, of course. You need to give everything you have to quote unquote love. Otherwise, you're being selfish, you're keeping to yourself, you're not, giving, you're not, in 100%. And, she would say that was your ego and you're never going to find your growth until you give it up to the team. So she would get money from the people in that way. I had unemployment coming in. And, I gave that to the team on a weekly basis, which helped. But over time, after I took over the websites, I redid them, restructured things, and we absolutely blew up for a couple of reasons. Some things that we'll get to because I know you want to talk about them. But yeah, the spiritual healings went through the roof. She ended up being 2 months out. We were making $10,000, $12,000 in some months.
Wow.
For her spiritual work.
Yep. She spent 6-8 hours a day on the phone before dinner, just talking to people, it was almost like talking to a shrink with a spiritual vibe, somebody who claims she could talk to your angels, but at the same time is really just like talking to a therapist.
It's like a spiritual life coach.
Yeah.
With no qualifications.
Zero. Yeah. Other than the fact that she was God, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And thinks she's God.
A little bit of a Teal Swan vibe?
Yeah. A little bit. Less makeup, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If Teal Swan worked from home.
How many people were on the team?
When I joined, the number fluctuated because people were, it was a revolving door. So people were always leaving and people were always showing up. So I think I made 7, and then we went up to 11 or 12 at one point, and then settled back around 8 or 9.
Okay.
Right before I left. Yeah, 8 or 9.
Did people come see what you saw, like the mess, and then peace out? Did you ever see that happen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When I say it was a revolving door, I mean, that was the case for people who physically came and people who joined the team in the sense of being in the chat room. It was like you were on a timer. Everybody would stay for, long enough to figure out this was BS, see enough, and then they were gone.
Got it.
Okay, so before things got really weird, what were the good aspects of it? Like, tell us about a good day in Love Has Won.
A good day in Love Has Won. Gosh, they were all difficult from the start, but, a good day was a regular day. We would wake up in the morning, Amy and I, we had gotten into a relationship, which we can get to, but, a good day was we'd wake up in the morning, make us some coffee, we'd sit in the bed and chat, and that 45 minutes was about the realest 45 minutes that Amy was ever Amy. It was before she stepped out of that room and put Mother God on. In the morning when she first woke up, and if there was ever any time to talk about something or try to get into something heavy, that's when I tried. And we would sit there and chat, laugh, start our day. And Michael would come in, he'd knock on the door, see if we were awake, and then he'd come in and he thought he was like the manager of the team. He was always watching the members and commenting on them. And, this person's ego is doing this. This person is then their ego. This person has white programming. This person has racism. He would bring these reports to Amy and I every single morning. We would kind of laugh. Amy would poke fun at him like she was an older sister that just, endlessly teased and, kind of made fun of and harassed him. And he kind of just, took it and smiled. But, those moments were probably some of the best. And then from there, we would go out to the table and, I would take over the websites. We would, aggregate content from across the web. We would post it on our website. We'd be sharing it through Facebook. The whole team would have, a certain amount of articles to share. Amy would be on the phone doing her spiritual healing sessions. And we were just, a machine kind of had us running, full steam every day, posting our articles, driving traffic to the website. Amy would finish her 6, 7, 8 hours of healing sessions about 7 p.m. We'd eat dinner and then start drinking. We'd kind of get into the chat room and just hang out there. We'd play music, and then we'd be there probably from 8 o'clock at night in the chat room till 7 in the morning. Whenever Amy finally had enough to drink and was tired and would pass out, most of the time right before the sun came up. I used to say if it was a good night, if I could get her to bed before the sun came up, but she would fight sleep all night and just keep drinking and drinking and drinking.
Was she doing her work drunk?
That was a day. Not during the day. Back in 2014, she didn't drink until dinner. But it became clear at 2018 and on when I looked at the videos that she was waking up and drinking at that point.
It's like a rock star who's on drugs and you got to keep the show going, finish the tour, and just get her going every morning. So he's willing to take her shit because he's making money, right? Like he ran it like an enterprise.
It was all his, technically speaking. I mean, if you look at it legally speaking, anything that had registration or was legal facing, like the websites registered in his name, the credit cards registered in his name, the bank accounts registered in his name, the rent, the house, his name, everything, his name. She didn't put anything in her name because she was afraid of the police. She used to say, she would make an excuse that it was because the cabal was looking for her because she was Mother God. But the truth was that she was worried about the police. She had issues, I believe, with her children and leaving them and then, not paying child support kind of a deal. And she was very much afraid of running into the police. So she trusted Michael with everything.
Did Michael do things to facilitate that? Because, a lot of these things are men cult leaders with women doing the bidding. I do think Amy's is a different case, but the guy who, to me, the whole time was like, that guy's the shyster and Amy's unstable.
She was a force, but she was pliable. And
right.
He was very good at manipulating her.
Extracting value out of her.
Yeah, exactly. He owned the mining rights to Mother God, and he knew how to do it in a way that looked very passive but, he knew he was in control at all times.
Do you think we set Michael up enough for our audience?
Yeah.
To kind of give our audience context
sure.
to Michael?
The thing that I feel like if anyone hasn't seen the podcast or read your book yet, I don't think we've really clarified is like, what was Amy thinking she was doing? Like, what was the hook? What was the mission of the group?
She thought she was Jesus, like coming back, rapture, like bringing the world, grace, love, and to a new level of light and love in the entire world, crashing the old systems and bringing a new way of living for the entire planet. That was the message in the beginning, love, light, wholeness, balance, all those good things, bringing the new age, as they would call it, new age to the planet Earth. And I'm Mother God, so I'm the leader of this movement to take over the planet. She thought she was going to become president of the United States or president of the world. And, she thought she was going to lead the world into this new age of 5D living where we, became, this next level of humanity, of society.
In her private conversations with you, and where you did have like non-drunken or non-hallucinant, like when you weren't on drugs or on alcohol, about her, how she was recognizing or reconciling being Mother God, but not being a mother to her own children. Did that ever come up in her conversations?
Yeah, that was one of my go-tos. I mean, when it got to the point where, I'd been with the team for a while and now I'm fighting back, trying to dismantle the belief systems, that was one of my go-tos. You're Mother God, but you have children you're not a mother to. Like, how do you explain this? And she didn't go there. That you're getting somewhere when there's no dialogue to be had and the response is just a defense mechanism like, oh, you're in your ego. Psh, that's it. You're in your ego, or just laugh at you until you don't want to bring it up anymore.
Right. Seems like that was one of her ultimate thought terminating cliches. Like, we're not talking about that because you're in your ego.
Yeah. You only bring this up because you're in your ego. You need to let it go. You need to get present in the moment of now and present in love. If you're talking about this, you're not in love. So if you're not in love, you're in your ego. And it was that she made it that simple. So it was really easy for her to just kind of like try to chop your head off and stop you right in their tracks. And most people didn't fight back. And, I got to a point where, that wasn't good enough as far as answers.
She was the first person to do like a non-verbal thought-stopping cliche.
With the laughing.
With the cackle, whatever it was.
That cackle she is famous for. If you ask anybody who's
Dr.
ever
Phil.
met her. Oh, yeah, okay.
She does it. If you want to go see it, she does it in Dr. Phil.
It will shoot the hair up in the back of your neck and
it's
make
aggressive.
Your spine tingle. Yeah, it's very aggressive. And, it's like that cackle is like saying, you don't understand. I'm smarter than you. You're nothing. I'm on a different level. You just don't get it.
So obviously that's a huge red flag for me. What were some of the other things that you encountered that were warning flags for you? Give us a couple moments.
I mean, there's so many of them. When she had the Father God talk with me, right? That's what I call it, the Father God talk. And she had this probably with 15 to 16, maybe 20 men by the time that she unfortunately passed away. But the Father God talk was my second or third day there. She pulled me into the bedroom and, said, Andrew, I have to talk to you. And this was after she had shot at me for taking like a 2-hour walk in the mountains in my second or third day there. And I thought I was in big trouble again because I didn't realize, that was, you're not allowed to do that. She takes me into the bedroom and she says, sit down here. She pats the bed and she starts telling me about how, I had this big role to play and that, it was bigger than I anticipated, that, she's Mother God and she was sent here to lead the planet into 5D, into love, into the new age, and that I was actually supposed to become the vessel for Father God's consciousness to come into my body so that Father God and Mother God could reign in the physical on the earth together for the first time and make this 5D possible. And she's trying to explain this to me. And if you can imagine, I'm sitting on the bed with, my head in my hands, like in kind of shock, trying to take this in. And, she drops it on me and she wanted to leave it with me and give me some time to think about it. So she's leaving the bedroom This is the red flag too. But as she's leaving the bedroom, she gets to the door and she turns around and she says to me, "Oh, by the way, when you're ready to make love, let me know." Shuts the door right behind her. I mean, totally, just like no laugh, no smile, nothing. And it was just like, whoa. And she shuts the door and I thought to myself, what the fuck is happening? It felt like I entered a vice grip in that very moment and didn't leave for probably about 4 months until the quantum hoax was uncovered. And in one swift moment, all of that vice grip was like shattered. And finally, I broke out of my shell. But for a good 3 to 4 months, I was in hell, like emotionally, physically, spiritually.
Let's take a break from the cultiverse. Here's a word from our sponsors.
You know how this time of year, everyone's running on caffeine and leftover Halloween candy and whatever's left of their immune system? Yep, that's why we've been leaning hard on AG1. It's our daily green scoop of sanity. One drink that replaces your multivitamin, pre- and probiotics, superfoods, and antioxidants. We call it adulting in a cup. Between traveling back and forth between Atlanta and Vancouver, hosting family, and pretending we have our routines under control, it's easy to fall off the healthy wagon. AG1 Next Gen makes it simple to stay on track. It's got even more vitamins and minerals, plus gut-supporting pre- and probiotics that keep everything, moving smoothly. We love AG1 because it's one of those rare habits that actually sticks. You just scoop, shake, drink. Done. No 47-step wellness routine required, especially if you're trying to simplify your life going into the new year. We just did a little family trip to Mexico and brought the travel packs, and I'm so glad I did because not only did I not have to drag a big Ziploc bag full of different supplements, I just brought my AG1, and that morning routine kept us and our guts in tip-top shape for the trip. Very important. AG1 now has their best offer ever. If you head to drinkag1.com/culty, you'll get the welcome kit, a morning person hat, a bottle of vitamin D3 and K2, an AG flavor sampler, and you'll get to try their new sleep supplement, AGZ, for free, which has been a total game changer for my nightly routine. That's drinkag1.com/culty for $126 in free gifts for new subscribers. As busy parents, meal planning and grocery shopping used to feel like a full-time job. That's why Hungry Root has been a total game changer for us. They plan our meals for the week, shop for us, and deliver groceries that fit our health goals, dietary preferences, and budget. Basically, all the good stuff without any of the stress. People, I cannot recommend Hungry Root enough. It's totally personalized. You just take a quick quiz and their smart cart tech recommends groceries and recipes tailored to exactly what you like and need, whether it's gluten-free, high protein, gut-friendly, you name it. Plus, their food quality is top-notch. No crazy additives, organic produce, hormone-free meat and seafood, and brands that you can actually trust. And with the holidays coming, we are all about saving time and energy and, yes, even some cash. Hungry Root cuts down on food waste, keeps us out of the crowded stores, and delivers everything we need right to our door. Honestly, it's a lifesaver this time of year. I personally love Hungry Root because I just don't have to think about it. It's so convenient. And specifically for me, helping with my health goals around perimenopause and keeping things low carb and balanced and, all the things. Hungry Root helps with all of that. So take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/culty and use code culty. That's hungryroot.com/culty, code culty to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. People, this is also a great holiday present, don't you think? For somebody who has everything, get them Hungry Root as a subscription. Just a little idea. Happy holidays. If you're a last-minute shopper like me, you know the panic, empty shelves, zero ideas, and that one person who's just really hard to shop for. But listen, Aura Frames has officially saved me. It's the one gift that actually feels personal without me losing my mind. I got one for my mom this year. Don't tell her, she is behind on listening to the podcast, so hopefully she won't hear this till January. But she loves family photos and struggles with keeping the boys' school and sports pics up to date in her home. So this is the perfect thing for her. I cannot wait to see her face when she opens it. And the best part is that even though she is somewhat technically challenged like many boomers, I know that she can handle this. You just get the app, connect the frame to Wi-Fi, and invite family and friends to share photos and videos. Voila! Who do you struggle to shop for? Think about Aura Frames. This is really the perfect gift. You can also add a message before it arrives so it shows up feeling thoughtful and intentional already. Look at us, being organized. And remember, once it's set up, you can keep sharing photos and videos straight from your phone all year long. It's the easiest way to give someone a little moment of togetherness even when you can't wrap it. You can't wrap memories, but you can totally frame them. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura Frames' best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code CULTY at checkout. That's AURAFrames.com, promo code CULTY. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Happy holidays.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Now let's dive back into the Cultiverse.
Before we get into the quantum hoax, which is amazing and fascinating, how did you decide to take her up on the offer? What went on in your head that you decided?
I've never quite been propositioned like that. It took
Didn't let that one go, did you?
I tried. Look, I had no
You tried to sneak that in there. You tried to sneak that in there. You thought we weren't going to catch that.
My audience is going to want to know, Andrew-Ryan. Andrew-Ryan, they're going to want to know.
We want to know, Andrew. Our audience wants to know.
Thank you for catching that. Yeah. So that took a couple days. It took a couple days. I remember thinking to myself when I finally gave in. Finally gave in, and I think I wrote this in the book. I said, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Just go for it.
So, fuck it.
Tap that Mother God ass,
right? I'm banging Mother God over here.
Sorry. We could cut that out if you want.
Why would you cut that out? That's funny.
What was it like? It was like, it wasn't like, you would think God would be like, I could tell you that much. But it took a few days for me to come to terms with the fact that was expected of me.
Right.
Then I realized that, she was very promiscuous, and that, the guys around her had, pretty much all, except for one maybe, wanted, or they had been with her like this. It's just so strange.
It's part of the program.
It was like another challenge, right? So Here I am accepting all of the challenges, and it was like, well, she's not your type. You're definitely way too superficial for your standards as far as like looks. Don't care about attitude as long as she looks a certain way. Maybe this is your opportunity to get rid of that and find the person deep inside that you really care about. That's kind of how I sold it to myself. That's the best way I could package it up. And I was like, yeah, that's good enough. We'll go with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you talked about in the book how, you really did care for her, and and I've read this in other sort of spiritual
time, but yeah.
Yeah, but just like the idea of really caring for somebody and really putting somebody else in front of you. Like, it's a similar thing, I think, with a mother and a child, where like someone else's needs come first. And the way you talk about caring for her is really sweet and beautiful as a lesson.
Thank you.
That people can learn, I think.
I think you're right. I've never had that happen to me before. I never realized the joy in serving another person in such a way until I did it for Amy. And she needed to be served. I mean, look, when she started drinking, she needed a babysitter. But throughout the rest of the day, she really did need help because she was doing a lot. And she had a lot on her plate. She was under a lot of pressure. I mean, all self-imposed, but she was under a lot of pressure. I took a lot of joy in being that rock for her and, helping her in all of her human needs. From getting her a glass of water when I thought she was going to be thirsty after talking on the phone, to making her breakfast, making her lunch, making her drinks, doing things for her, laundry, cleaning the bathrooms, things like this, just so she could focus.
Those things would be really...
I know.
I loved it. I loved it. I really did.
Reading it, I was like, why is he doing this? Like, what were you hoping to get when you were doing that?
Maybe you should take some notes.
No,
here.
but I'm
sorry,
asking,
dude. No, I'm so sorry, man.
You come on my podcast, you make me look bad. That's your ego, bro. That's your ego. To me, it was like the patience you demonstrated based on what felt like the abuse you were getting. I was like, how's he hanging in there?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I had my moment. I had my moments where I spun out and I was like freaking out, kind of storming out the door. You don't even take care of your own children. You're not Mother God. Slam the door behind me, come out 5 minutes later, like, you're an alcoholic. How are you Mother God and have no ego? Slam the door. Like, I had those moments too. I wasn't perfect, but I never forsake her human needs. And, that was something I took a lot of pride in that. It made me feel like I was doing something that was truly important in a small way, but, it felt big for me. And it made me feel good to be there for her in that way. And I think at the end of this story, she recognized that.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I think that really stuck with her even to the very end.
As a sounding board, I think you're challenging her. And I think
she appreciated
what I
that.
got is that's what, and you were doing it from the place that you speak of. I think that's where you're able to reach her.
Mm-hmm.
I did. And if it wasn't for Michael, reeling her back in, we probably wouldn't even be talking right now.
Right. Tell us about the quantum hoax. I know it's a long story and really it's laid out great in the book, but what's the best way to summarize that?
All of a sudden, one day in the chat room, we had these quote beings come in, 5 or 6 of them, and they start talking in unison, starting, finishing, ending each other's sentences, speaking these really high-end spiritual truths that seemed really incredible. And they were very strange, very different. They got a lot of attention. And they claimed to be from another galaxy. Nobody believed them at first until we had some lady come in the chat room after a couple of days. And she was freaking out because she couldn't find her mother's will and her family was going to lose everything. Husband lost his job. And these beings were like, oh, your mother's will. No problem. Go upstairs in her house where your mom passed away. In her bedroom, there is a mat. Under the mat, there's a loose floorboard. Under the floorboard, so cliche, right? Under the floorboard, you'll find a lockbox, and in that box will be your mother's will. We're looking at each other like, yeah, okay. And the people in the chat room are like, who are these people? And the lady leaves the chat. We're thinking never going to see them again because they just totally off themselves. And this lady comes back 15 minutes later and it's like, oh my God, thank you. It was exactly where you said it was the whole time. We found the will and my whole family is saved. From that moment on, our chat room blew up. News of these quantum beings went AWOL. Our chat room went from 30 or 40 people to 250, 300 people a night. I mean, it was crazy. Everybody wanted to see these beings. All of a sudden, they took over the team. They ran everything. Amy went into meditation. Yeah, my gods say they're real. They're here to help us bring in 5D. I'm supposed to take the lead from them. And, they essentially start telling us when to meditate, when to do this. Amy, you go into the healing chambers. This guy is going to be the healer on the team. He's going to heal you every night when you're pissed drunk at 2:00 in the morning. I'm hearing them moaning from the room some nights, and I'm asking her the next day what's going on, and I'm getting gaslit. That's just your ego. You're hearing things. Let it go, blah, blah, blah. Come months and months later, and these beings had taken total control of the team, and I finally been able to put it together. He had one day taken my laptop and fixed it for me, and then I'm on my laptop, and I see the screen just kind of blink and flash after I first get on it. And I open up the task manager, and I see there's spyware on my computer. And in that moment, it was like a strike bolt of lightning. After months of these beings running everything on the team and all of this gaslighting and confusion, I realized KG put this stuff on my computer. He was watching me the whole time. Hold on. He's the Quantums. He's been doing this. He has been creating these fake beings, creating these fake people to come into chat room to make it look like they did something miraculous, take control of the whole team, take control of Amy, get her in a healing chamber, take advantage of her sexually. In the middle of the night when she's piss poor drunk, he would pretend and shake like Father God downloaded into him. And he would convince her that he had become Father God for that moment. So that he needed to make her orgasm so she could get rid of her negative energy. He had been essentially gaslighting and controlling the team for months from the corner of our room, one of our own teammates.
Tell our audience who KG is.
And yeah, his name is KG. He was just one of the team members, kind of faded off into the background. He elevated his own status by doing this. He had gotten himself close to Amy. He was all of a sudden, in the videos, he was important in the group. And the whole time he was spending hours, going to incredible lengths to create this hoax. And when I found out, it shattered the team. I was given an ultimatum to keep my mouth shut or leave the team because Amy didn't want it getting out that she had been hoaxed like this, that Mother God had been hoodwinked. And that all of it was BS and she didn't know it. And her guides were BS because they claimed this was all true. At that point, there was no chance that I was going to bury it. And I didn't. I told everybody.
And I know that we can follow it because we read it and you experienced it. But just for our audience, somebody on the team went into the chat room, pretended to be a celestial being and started controlling the group and telling. So basically, KG was elevating himself by creating these beings saying that he should be the healer, giving him access to Amy sexually and otherwise. Logistically, how does this work? He's sitting in the corner of the room just typing and everyone's watching?
Yeah, he always sat in the far corner. Nobody ever thought anything of it. Always sat in the far corner. I had this one crazy experience I'll be real quick about. I'm vacuuming. It was a Friday night before a mushroom trip, and I'm vacuuming, getting the house clean because, I figure when you're going to do spiritual things, clean space actually makes sense to have. So, of course, I'm like the only person in the house that cleans. I'm vacuuming. I look at KG, and he's on his laptop typing. And there is like this blue blob just hovering over his shoulder. It was the weirdest thing. And I told him that there was this blue. I'm like, KG, there's this blue energy like over your shoulder. And he slammed his laptop down shut like so hard and shot up and like started cleaning. And this was like the dirtiest, no shower, don't change your clothes kind of guy in the house, and started cleaning. And it was just really strange. But this was in the middle of the whole quantum thing. And it wasn't until after that I realized that he was probably up to no good on his laptop in that corner, just putting all of this effort into controlling the team and misleading the team the whole time.
Also, like right in front of you.
Right in front of us.
Yeah.
Always sat in the corner, in the furthest corner of the room, even when we switched houses. And finally, it made sense. We figured out why. Because he didn't want anybody seeing what he was up to. Amy, essentially, she didn't want to believe it. I got her to accept that it was true. I laid it out in a way that was beyond contestation. And then she actually told me, that's when she told me that KG would pretend to be Father God in the healing sessions and, tell her he had to make her have these orgasms in order to clear her energy. And it clicked for her. She went and talked to KG and he admitted it, and she kicked him out of the house and he left. And that was
Good.
like the close of chapter 1. And that's when everything changed.
That's a great segue.
That's a great segue.
Well done.
Come back for part 2 and hear about how you eventually left and everything that happened after that.
Pausing there, come back Thursday for part 2.
Trust me, you don't want to miss it.
Sinking down to the depths of the ocean, hanging on to the weight of my love. If I let go of it all, I could leave, but I know I won't.
We hope you're enjoying A Little Bit Culty. If so, please do show us some love. Drop a rating or leave a review. Hit subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/alittlebitculty.
Even better, send this episode to someone who needs it. Maybe they're in a cult. Maybe they're just a little bit susceptible. Or maybe they just love a good story. Spread the word, spread the love. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
A Little Bit Culty is a Trace 120 production.
Executive produced by Sarah Edmondson and Anthony Nippy Ames in collaboration with producer Will Rutherford at Citizens of Sound. Our co-creator is Jess Temple Tardy.
Our production coordinator is Leslie Dinsmore.
Writing by Sandra Namoto and social media marketing by Eric Swarzinski and Brooke Keene.
Our theme song, Cultivated, is by the artists John Bryant and Nigel Aslan.
Shopify's point of sale system helps you sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take payments in person? We've got you covered. How about card readers you can rely on anywhere you sell?
Thanks. Have a good one.
Yep, that too. Want one place to manage all your online and in-person sales? That's kind of our thing. Wherever you sell, businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/listen. Shopify.com/listen.
Join me and follow the podcast Conspiracy Theories, where we explore what's really going on behind the official narrative. Like, what if the Loch Ness Monster isn't a monster at all, but an elephant? What do the richest 1% know that we don't? And why are they building all those bunkers? And really, what the heck is going on with the Denver airport? Join me every week to see just how high up this goes on the Spotify podcast, Conspiracy Theories. Listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.